My friend said helping my mom in the garden would be enabling an abuser. Some context. My mom is out of town until June due to a family emergency. My mom has a small garden in her backyard where she plants a few vegetables every year. Where we live, the perfect time to plant is in mid to late May. Since my mom was going to be out of town during this time, she asked me to plant them for her and tend to the garden while she's out, and I said no problem. So when I was hanging out with my friend, the topic of gardening came up. My friend is super into gardening and has a large vegetable and flower garden in her backyard. I asked her if she's free this weekend to help me with my mom's garden, since I know absolutely nothing about proper gardening. I'll just put the conversation that happened here to the best of my memory. I said, "Hey, do you want to come over this weekend to help me set up a vegetable garden?" My friend said, "Hell yeah, I would. Why didn't you tell me that you got into gardening?" But her excitement didn't last very long. I said, "Oh, hell no. I hate gardening." This is true. I hate getting all dirty from it. I'm doing it for my mom. She's out of town. And then the conversation took a bizarre turn. My friend said, "If you hate it so much, why didn't you just tell her no?" I said, "Because it's my mom? I don't mind doing it as a one-time thing." My friend said, "Are you sure this is going to be a one-time thing? What happens the next time she asks you to do something you don't like?" I said, "Dude, it's a small garden. She literally only has one garden bed." My friend said, "I'm just saying that it all starts with just one request. If I were you, I'd just say no. You've got to start having some boundaries with her." I said, "Dude, why are you being so weird? Do you want to help me or not?" My friend said, "Well, no, because I don't want to enable an abuser." When she called my mom an abuser, I completely lost it at her. I know that this friend does not have a good relationship with her mom, but I have a great relationship with mine. I just didn't appreciate her projecting her issues onto me. She said that this situation is reminding her of her mom and how she basically treated her like a live-in maid, and that she doesn't want me to go down that path. To which I said, "Look, I'm sorry that happened to you, but stop projecting your mommy issues onto mine and my mother's relationship." After this, she called me an asshole and said, "Don't say I didn't warn you when you're doing her laundry and deep cleaning her house every day, because it's just a small task she asked you to do." Am I the asshole for this? That's where the original poster left off, but the comment section had a lot to say. The top reply, from user HotBlonde98 with over 1,000 upvotes, put it bluntly. "You are not the asshole. There's a massive difference between my parent forced me into unpaid labor my whole childhood and my mom asked me for one favor while dealing with a family emergency. Your friend clearly has unresolved issues with her own mother, and while that's sad, it doesn't give her the right to label your mom an abuser because you agreed to water some tomatoes." This minor favor sparked an absolute war in the comments. Most people do small things for people they love, even if they don't personally enjoy the task. That's just being a decent family member. Honestly, she crossed the line the second she called your mom abusive over a single garden bed. You tried to shut the conversation down multiple times, and she kept escalating it. Could you have phrased the mommy issues comment more gently? Maybe, but after someone repeatedly insults your parent and refuses to drop it, I can see why you snapped. Also ironic that she accused you of lacking boundaries while completely ignoring yours. Strong words from user HotBlonde98. With their friendship ruined, the internet had to take a side. Another commenter, user FlatReplacement4828, with over 300 upvotes, weighed in. "You are not the asshole. Sweet Jesus. Like, I'm sorry her relationship with her mom sucks so much, But that doesn't mean any parent asking their kid for a favor is an abuser. Damn. That was user flat replacement 4828. Then user Brazen Donut, with over 100 upvotes, added, "You are not the asshole." That's such a dystopian relationship to have for your friend and her mother. Sounds like she's definitely projecting, if true. Maybe her mom is a narcissist. Or possibly her view of her mom is, at least. End of reply from user Brazen Donut. Let me know in the comments which side you're on. Up next. My wife's grandmother died on the way to our wedding, and her family's first concern was the money they'd lose. We just found out a couple of hours ago that her grandmother got into a serious accident while on her way to us for the wedding. She was pronounced deceased at the scene. My wife is very distraught about this and very emotional. Not even an hour after she got the news, she was called by her sister telling her not to cancel or postpone the wedding because their parents paid too much money. There was no attempt to ask if she is okay or to comfort her. She is obviously not in the right state of mind to make a decision. I feel like canceling the wedding for now to give my wife time to grieve. I just don't know if it will be the right decision. Up next. I paid $9,000 for a car my parents are now holding hostage until my graduation. I work full-time, study full-time, and haven't gotten much help from my parents. I'll be in debt for years because of the student loan I had to take. I have an older brother, a 29-year-old male, and a younger sister, a 16-year-old female. My parents paid for my brother's degree in full and helped him get his first flat by boosting his credit for a loan. Meanwhile, I get no financial help at all, not for rent, food, or even special occasions. For my birthday this year, I got a set of plates and a new pan. I've struggled with mental health since I was 13, and lately I've been overwhelmed. I hate my job. I hate constantly stressing about money, and I'm not even sure I like the career I studied for anymore. Now to the issue. I do have a car, or I thought I did. I started working part-time at 16 and saved enough to pay for half the car and my license. My parents paid the other half, and the car was put in my dad's name because I was 16 and insurance was cheaper that way. But my parents were hiding a massive secret from me. But that wasn't the worst part. Since starting university, I'd asked to use the car so I could get to work after classes and on weekends. But there was always an excuse. Mom needs it, or your sister has to be driven somewhere. My dad has his own car, and my brother lives 5 minutes away and also has one, so it's not like they'd be stranded. Last week, I got accepted into a great apprenticeship, starting Monday the 18th. A friend of mine also got in, but they start a week later and could drive me after that. I called my parents and asked if I could use the car for just 1 week. I said I'd obviously pay for petrol, parking, everything. Public transport exists, but I'd have to cut work hours to make it work, and I can't afford that. They refused immediately and came up with another excuse. I basically begged because I didn't want to lose a huge opportunity, but they just kept saying, "Not yet." Eventually, my dad got annoyed and told me they planned to give me the car as a graduation gift, which is why I was never allowed to use it before. I explained I only needed it temporarily and would give it back after the week, but they said it wouldn't feel like a gift if I had it early. That's when I snapped and told them they could freaking keep their stupid car. I know I shouldn't have said it, but I was exhausted and felt like they were sabotaging a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity while dangling false promises in front of me. My mom cried. My dad called me a lot of names. Worthless brat was the nicest one, and I hung up. It's been 2 days of silence now. I don't care much about my dad being angry, but my mom was basically my best friend, and we talked every day. The guilt is eating me alive. So, am I the jerk? I might lose my family over a car I literally paid for. My entire career and family relationships were now hanging by a thread. To provide some additional info, the car is not a brand new one, and it wasn't brand new when we bought it. It's a Volvo V40 from 2003. Also, I'm not American. I thought the way I spelled mum would be enough to make that point across. We all live in the UK. I got my license at 17 and a half. Would have been at 17, but I couldn't use my left foot for half a year, and that's pretty important when you have manual transmission, obviously. I see how it could have been confusing since I mentioned being 16, the reason being my parents wanting to buy the car then. It was never supposed to have been a family car. The plan was for it to be my mom's for a year so she could learn how to drive. I paid roughly $9,000 for it back in 2018, my half. I do not have any proof of purchase in my name. I was 16. I just gave my parents the money and trusted them with it. I don't know if there's a way for me to prove that I paid the other half now, after all this time, and with no trace of a transaction being made. Reddit had a lot to say about this. The top comment from user ImpossibleDisc43 with 1,829 upvotes reads, "Not the asshole. How the hell is it a gift when you paid for half of it? They've stolen from you. Your mom either realizes what a royal screw-up she's made, or she's manipulating you with crocodile tears." Another reader, user The DMing Warlock, added, "Not the asshole. I get it. You and your mom are friends, but she also participates in the financial abuse and neglect towards you. You are their child. I understand not every family can aid in their children's education, but clearly yours can. They just choose not to, and your mom stands by that decision. Secondly, you paid for half that car. The fact you need to ask to use it is frankly insane and abusive. Your father reeks of narcissism, the way he would give you something you half paid for, and the way he flaunts, 'I was going to give it to you.' I'm sorry, I would recommend no contact. If your mom cares, maybe she can pressure your dad to fuck off and be a proper parent. Hopefully, you can get to the event." Another reader, user Rodin265, added, "I'd tell your grandparents, any uncles and aunts, and any older person your parents respect exactly how they failed you in a moment of need. Let them fight that battle for you. Meanwhile, I'd pull in every favor I could think of to get to that apprenticeship, whether that's rides there or money for renting a car, taking an Uber, or figuring out if there's public transit." Let me know in the comments which side you're on, but the internet's reaction took this drama to a whole new level. Reddit had a lot to say about this. The top comment from ImpossibleDisc43 with 1,829 upvotes reads, "NTA. How the hell is it a gift when you paid for half of it? They've stolen from you. Your mom either realizes what a royal screw-up she's made, or she's manipulating you with crocodile tears." Another reader, The DMing Warlock, added, "NTA. I get it. You and your mom are friends, but she also participates in the financial abuse and neglect towards you. You are their child. I understand not every family can aid in their children's education, but clearly yours can. They just choose not to, and your mom stands by that decision. Secondly, you paid for half that car. The fact you need to ask to use it is frankly insane and abusive. Your father reeks of narcissism, the way he'd give you something you half paid for. And the way he flaunts, 'I was going to give it to you.' I'm sorry, I would recommend the NC. If your mom cares, maybe she can pressure your dad to fuck off and be a proper parent. Hopefully, you can get to the event." Another reader, Rodin265, added, "I'd tell your grandparents, any uncles and aunts, and any older person your parents respect exactly how they failed you in a moment of need. Let them fight that battle for you. Meanwhile, I'd pull in every favor I could think of to get to that apprenticeship, whether that's rides there or money for renting a car, taking an Uber, or figuring out if there's public transit. Let me know in the comments which side you're on. Up next, I bought my in-laws a new washing machine, but I'm the bad guy for refusing to buy their nephew dinner. We actually own our own home, but we moved in temporarily so my retired in-laws can help with childcare while I go back to work. They want to be involved with their first grandchild, and this arrangement works well for everyone. I'm not expected to pay rent or bills, but I still contribute. I cook dinners when I can, buy takeout for everyone occasionally, and it paid for bigger household items like a robot vacuum, washing machine, and dishwasher as gifts. About 3 months ago, my husband's cousin, who is 21, moved in from overseas while studying for his master's degree. It was meant to be temporary, but he hasn't made any effort to find other accommodation and may stay up to 2 years. The problem is, he contributes nothing. He doesn't help with housework, doesn't have a job, isn't looking for one, and only attends university 3 days a week for about 4 hours. He stays up gaming until 5 a.m. and wakes up around 1 p.m. His dad, who is well off, funds his lifestyle and gives him money to eat out. And then things got even worse. Despite that, he expects a lot from my in-laws. But his demands were about to get much worse. He asks my mother-in-law to cook him 2 separate meals a day because he won't eat the same thing twice. His dad said he'd reimburse food costs, but hasn't paid anything in 3 months. He expects my mother-in-law to drive him to and from the bus stop, which is a 12-minute walk, often making her drop everything immediately or he'll be late. What really bothers me is how entitled he is while giving nothing back. Because of this, I've stopped including him when I buy takeout. I used to treat the whole family, including him, but now I'll clearly say the food is for everyone except him. My in-laws think I'm being selfish, but he has never once contributed to a shared meal or paid for anything for anyone. I am refusing to enable him and will not waste any of my time or money helping him in any way, which is the same as how he treats everyone else in the house. I've spoken to my husband, and we are moving to our own place. I'm not going to live by my in-laws' rules just to get free childcare. And I'm not going to watch a spoiled rich kid be enabled because it's against my morals. I buy takeout when my cousin-in-law isn't around. He wouldn't even know he is being excluded. My in-laws want to save and give him some because they want him to go back to his home country and tell extended family members how well they treat him. My cousin-in-law is 21 and is studying for a master's degree. He's already graduated university and is doing further studies as he cannot or is unwilling to find a job. He is also being sent money by his well-off family and can afford to buy his own food or treat everyone if he wanted to. He also does not want to find a part-time job while studying, as his father is sending him spending money already. My in-laws wouldn't accept rent money, so I help out in other ways, in case you think I am still leeching. They also want to look after their first grandchild, as they're retired, don't have other hobbies, and have waited a long time for grandchildren. With family drama escalating, everything was about to boil over. My in-laws have subtly tried to get my cousin-in-law to contribute more by asking him to learn a recipe and cook something for them. After 3 months, he still has not done it. With family peace shattered, a major breaking point was coming. Nothing in this situation is about money. Nobody wants rent, and I don't care if my cousin-in-law pays rent or not. It's about entitlement and making my mother-in-law do things she doesn't want to. She has mentioned she doesn't like to cook or drive him, but is obliged to because he will tell her brothers and sisters back home that she doesn't look after him. She's also mentioned that her brother has asked her to look after him, so it's her responsibility. But if he was to move out, then she wouldn't worry about him anymore. Though she can't ask him to move out. Reddit had a lot to say about this. The top comment from user Nearby Emotion 8126 with 533 upvotes reads, "You're the asshole, and you are going about this the wrong way. This is not your house. It is not your job to stick up for your in-laws. They are permitting this behavior in their home. You are making it worse by adding to the drama. Go back home and explain why you are doing so. If your in-laws truly want you there, they will correct the situation." Another reader, user usualrole9084, added, "You're the asshole. You aren't expected to contribute anything, yet you do, because that's who you are. He's likely not expected to contribute anything, and he doesn't because that's who he is. This isn't your house, and you don't get to create rules to enforce and punish people for not following them. It's your in-laws' house. You also have a house you can live in if you don't like it, but you want free childcare, just like the cousin wants free meals. You're not that much different." Another reader, user Pink Painted Sky, added, "You need to move back to your house. If they want to help with childcare, you can drop the kids off. Why stay entangled in this?" Let me know in the comments which side you're on. Up next, my mom called me a sinful little girl for sharing a bed with my boyfriend in our own house. A few weeks ago, we moved in together. We both work, pay our own bills, and neither of us relies on family members for financial support. The other day, my mom and stepfather came to visit us since they were in the area and wanted to check out our new house. Since it was a good few hours away from where they live and they arrived in the evening, my boyfriend and I were more than willing to let them spend the night in an empty guest room. As everyone was settling in for the evening, my mom was confused as to why my boyfriend wouldn't be sleeping on the couch. I was also confused and said that we sleep together in the master bedroom. My mom is very old-fashioned and doesn't approve of any type of intimacy before marriage. She was also against the idea of my boyfriend and me moving in together, but she held her tongue during the duration of the visit so far. And then it got weird. We got into an argument, and it boiled down to my mom demanding that my boyfriend either sleep on the couch or on the floor in our bedroom. I said that was ridiculous, and it wasn't like we were going to be doing anything inappropriate within the vicinity of my parents. But that wasn't the worst part. She still said that she was my mother, and I should do what was asked of me. At that point, my stepfather stepped in and asked that we just listen to her and that I was making things difficult for everyone. In the end, nothing got resolved, and my parents left. I assumed they got a hotel room for the night and left to go back to their house the next morning. I got an angry text from my mom where she called me a sinful little girl and said that she raised me to be better than that. She told an aunt of mine what happened, and I later got a call from her where she said that my mom can be pushy and annoying, but I need to be the bigger person and apologize. My boyfriend is on my side, and his parents and siblings are too. I'm posting here so I can get some outside opinions on things. Am I the jerk?